Am I audible? Very good afternoon. Am I audible? Yeah, very good afternoon. So for that, as HR specialization in the last class, we have discussed about the management of industrial relations as a part of. Um, so far, we have conducted that functioning of trade unions that we have completed in the last class. Now, some part of concepts is there in the industrial disputes. Later on, we can discuss about the industrial as a employees organization. So far, we have discussed, we have completed these concepts in the last class. What about the functioning of trade unions and functions of trade unions, collective bargaining, and the representation and advocacy, perception against exploitation, social and legal support, influencing labor policies, real world examples. What are there in the examples like AITUC and BIFI? For ACT is generally discussing about industrial workers, textiles, steel, and transportation. And BIFI is completely issuing about the banking employees uh, work banking related issues. And another part is that NFIR, National Federation of Indian Railways. So these three, NFIR, so National Federation of Indian Railways, are speaking about the railway employees in the India. And BEFI, Bank Employees Federation of India, is discussing about the bank employees. And also AITUC is also speaking about the textile and steel transportation. So these three are real examples in India, real-time examples. So these three things are working for the workers or laborers in these three fields. Now, when you see the industrial disputes, so in this industrial disputes, there are majorly the disputes is going to be arising in between employers and employees. Now, what are the types of industrial disputes are there? And now that we also the last class we have discussed, that is the wage and the salary disputes are going to one is the one part of the disputes, and the working conditions and safety disputes. Another part is employment and job security disputes, and another part is union recognition and rights. And even this also managerial policies and practices, um, and technological changes and skill upgradation. So all these are the major disputes in the industrial within the organization level. So by these issues or disputes, that employees are the organizations having problems, and they're facing about these wage uh, the salary disputes. At the same time, working conditions, how that people are working, and how the company is framing some working conditions and safety, how their companies are taking some safety disputes. If they're not taking any safety features, safeguards, definitely the people used to raise about the disputes about their safety. And employment and job security. The people are terminating from the organization. That means the management is going to dismissing, the transferring, or giving promotions. If they're not going to providing any job security concepts, they are um, the employees, the laborers is getting problems, and they need this. They used to seek, or they used to require the job security. So if the company or the organization or the management fails to provide employment and job security, so there will be disputes is going to be happening in this organizational level. And union recognition. So generally, organizations also promoting asking them to uh, elect or conducting some elections among the employees. So out of one person is representing from the employees. So they are going to become a union leader, and they are going to raising the problems of organizations. At the same time, employees. So they what are the rights are there? They are also using the rights. If they are not using the rights, or else they are providing rights, and or else any problems are there in the rights, and there is going to, if any kind of violation towards the rights and the religion, definitely that dispute is going to be happening in this organizational level. And the managerial policies and practices, how the managerial policies and practices are there in the organizational level, how that organizations are making policies towards employee benefit or employee um, performance, and how they are practicing daily day, how they are implementing these policies towards the organizational level. So if any disputes is there, so definitely that the unions are going to be interfering, and they used to raise the problems about their policies and practices and the technological changes. And sometimes, organizations used to adopt the technologies, but if they do not accept the technology, so definitely the problem is going to be there, because um, organizations used to um, adopt the technology frequently, and they have to train them properly. Those who are going to working in the particular organizational level. So if they're not going to trade or training, instead of training, they're giving layoff or they're terminating, or else they're treating them as a in terms of performance aspects. So definitely there will be a problem. So for that reason, that organizations also should enhance the skills, are that they have to make them train what are the technologies they adopted from the other sources. So yeah, the technology adoption also one part of the these disputes. Now, what are the causes of industrial disputes? In the last class, I also discussed about the industrial economic causes, major causes, political causes, and psychological causes. So all these four causes will affect on the industrial disputes. So economic causes, they meet if they are not meeting the standards of the company, so definitely the property will be a probability may affect. At the same time, manager, if they fail to implement certain things, or else if not going to providing some practices, so definitely there may be a chance to raise the disputes. At the same time, political and social causes. Political social depends upon the government. Ruling parties are changing in this organization in the government in the country level. So there will be there will be a disputes, because if they're not if they have to follow they have to follow the government the policies, and political influences effects all within the artist level. Depends upon that, these artist people will get problems, and psychological problems in this psychological employees is doing in a positive way. If they're not going to receiving same treatment in terms of all the employees, all are equal. And if you're going to showing any favorism, and if that people are getting if not getting any appreciation about their work performance, so definitely these are also have a type of causes in the organizational level. Now see. What is the mechanism for resolving the industrial dispute? So far, we have discussed about the what types of disputes. How many types? About six types are there, and what are the causes of the disputes? Even that also we covered. Now we are going to looking about the mechanism for resolving the industrial disputes. What is the mechanism to overcome the disputes? Let's see. Cancellation. Conciliation. A third party conciliation facilitates discuss between employers and employers to reach the amicable settlement in India. The government often appoints a conciliation officer for this purpose. So conciliation party is in a third party. So they are going to settlement of the, if anything there in the organizational, if they're not going to solving inside, whether the employees are the unions, if they are not going to solving this problem, or they are not come to the or the solution, so they are taking some support or the service from the conciliation officer service. So these parties are going to resolving the problems. What are the problems are the resolvation? They are good resolving, and they are good providing that best solution without affecting or without and disturbing the persons. And mediation is also one part of settlement aspect. That means the mechanism to resolving the aspect. In a mediation, an impartial mediator, they are not going to uh, they're not going to they're not going to showing any favorism, or they're not going to be biased to the particular party. So here they have to mediate in both level. In the both sides, they have to work. That is impartial. So without partiality. So impartial mediator assists the uh, disputing parties in finding common ground and achieving in voluntary resolution. So these mediation parties, those who are there, they are going to solving voluntarily, and it is those who are those who are having a problem. So they identifying the problems and solving it. So here the mediation is required along with the conciliation. Conciliation is one part and mediation is one part, and arbitration. So arbitration is also one part of mechanism to resolving the disputes in the industrial. Uh, let's see, when conciliation and mediation fail. So if that conciliation and mediation both are together fails, the parties may turn to arbitration, because that conciliation was established. There is an individual party and mediation also one individual party. So individually they are going to try to solving the problem. But here, if they fail to or solve the problem, uh, that arbitration will come to the picture. So where an arbitrator makes a binding decision based on the arguments presented. So based upon, they're going to listening of both sides, employers and employee category. Both sides they are going to listening and taking and no all taking care of all issues which are making a disruption or else a dispute. So disputing points they are addressing, and they are going to giving solution without any bias. That impartially they are going to giving the solution to the employee, employee and employees in between. Based upon that, employee or employee, according to that, they have to follow it. Adjudication as the last resort, disputes may go to the adjudication, where industrial tribunals or labor court issues a binding judgment on the dispute. So adjudication also are part of last resort, and they are also solving the um, industrial disputes. So industrial disputes so definitely that will give an help to the um, organizations level, organizations, and at the same time employees also. And collective bargaining. What is collective bargaining? Here that trade unions and employees can negotiate directly to resolve conflicts through collective bargaining, establishing mutually agreed upon the terms and um, uh, uh, mutually agreed upon terms for work. So if even adjudication, arbitration, conciliation, mediation fails to get into particular solution, so the management will come to the employees, and they are going to negotiating about the problem, and they try to bring some solutions uh, beyond that. But inside, they're looking about the solution. So let's see an example in the industrial disputes in India. So the Maruti Suzuki Mensair plant disputes. So in 2012, there was one problem is there in India about the Maruti Suzuki cars, and that was there in the Mensair plant disputes. It is a notable example. That was a good example, or one of the best example for understanding about the industrial disputes. So this dispute began with the worker demand for better wages, safer working conditions, and the formation of an independent union. So here, what are the things are there? They are raised about the wages and safe working hours, and at the same time, safe working conditions, and the formation of an independent union. So these three, based upon these three things, there was a dispute began in the arbitration level by these workers. Workers are demanding about the better wages. They're asking about the better wages and asking about the safer working conditions and also formation of an independent unit. So the conflict escalated into a violent clash between employee and management, resulting in a significant loss of life, property damage, and operational shutdown. So, if you are going to not going to providing that proper wage, the employees may turn to some other organizations. If you are not going to providing any safer working conditions, so here that will also affect on the arbitration level, because if they are not going to providing about safer working conditions, uh, that definitely that may affect on the arbitration, because every employee must be active and healthy, then only they can come and work. If you are not they are not well or taking care of about their uh, health, so psychological problems, so we can't get a proper output at the in this organizational level. And this dispute highlighted the importance of addressing workers grievance promptly and maintaining a transparent communication channel between management and employees. So they come to the point, they highlighted the importance. What is the importance of the problem? And they are addressing the workers' grievance promptly. So every day they are taking care of the employees' problems. So they may raise about the wages, they may raise about the safe um, working conditions, and also the formation of an independent union. So altogether, the regular basis suggested, and maybe they are implementing these thing practices about the organization level. So if the organization is very good, not at all problem about the this um, no, getting the benefit of the from the organization level. So always the employees is always thinks about and asks about the organizational uh, disputes. In summary, industrial disputes can significantly affect an organization and its workforce. So, making it essential for employees, and regulatory bodies to resolve issue quickly and fairly to preserve industrial harmony and productivity. So, come to the last point, that industrial disputes are going to be there in the organization level. So, that must be significantly effect on an organization. So they're looking for the employment organization. So the essential, what are the essential for the employers and employees, and fairly to preserve industrial harmony and productivity. So if the company is they want to go to they're going to be problem wise and solution wise. So they should together work for the solution of the problem, because the problems are many in this artist level. So if all the mechanisms fail, all the mechanism, individual arbitrator or mediator and conciliator, or else this collective bargaining. So they used to raise about the problems and try to get the solutions. Then only these disputes may be clear among the people. Now, another point is that employers organization. What is the employers organization, and why we have to know about this employers organization? Let's see. Employers organizations are groups formed to represent the collective interests of employers in various sectors. So, employers are very few in the states, but they have a good unity. If there is no unity, So they cannot survive. They may not face the problems in this organizational level because employers always thinks about the safety of their business or safety about the organization performance. So definitely they can also give us some suggestions to the new companies or the new uh, no, uh, come to the new entities in this market. So these organizations advocate for business friendly policies because one to one all organizations will discuss about the friendly policy makings. For example, in India, Try is there. In the Try, Airtel, Idea, BSNL, whatever. So earlier we used to see that COI. So seller arbiter India. So they used to raise about the problems of the artist level. So simply we are going to getting it. So what are that the suggestions when we are going to meeting with some other company. So here uh, we are going to have a number of you know you know they are going to you know providing a number of solutions to the artist level. And in addition to advocating for employers in discussions with the trade unions and the governments, they also offer resources to help employers improve workplace standards, comply with the labor laws, and foster a connective business environment. So, as an employer, that means he is the now I think that he is also a part of the arbitration. So he's done it going to become a director or else some other. But if arbitrations will work together mutually, they will get a complete solution because if one fails, someone will help in this particular arbitration level. So all the employees, the management people used to think about how to get a service from some other. So if the because the new entity is there in the market, if we don't know about how to do the business, how to face the problems in the artist level, so he definitely fails in that station. So instead of that, organizations will work sincerely and they will they try to get a reference from the one-to-one sources. So definitely the organizations promotions and service may help to some other parties in the operation level. Now see what are the functions of employers organization. So far we have discussed about the employers organization. So functions, what are the functions are there in the employers organization? Let's see representation and advocacy. What are the representation? Employer organizations represent business in discussions with the government, labor unions, and regulatory bodies to protect their members' interest. For example, as per the trend, as per the current situations, they want to start a business. So they are going to discussing among the group of the employers. So they come to the one particular problems or come to the one particular policies or come to the particular practices they are going to discussing with the government because government will entertain or effectively in this in the government because governments will give you some solutions or they're also providing some policies making to make a favor the employers because at the end of the day how that people are going to uh, purchase and now what is the price in land and properties. So definitely the organization will do all of them if they don't represent in an effective way. Now collective bargain. So collective bargaining is a is in a always shows the unity of work. So unity of work will give a strengthen and it make them stronger in the organization. Let's see about that pharmaceutical industry. The organizations will about the speaks about the organization, how organization will work in this country level. But when you go to the organizational level, so they definitely looking about the help of some other parties like Vijay Devarkonda, Vijay Dev. So the employees organizations often participate in collective bargaining. This up of the so this type of create standardized practices across the industry, ensuring that employers' voices are considered during wage negotiations, working conditions discussions, and other labor trade. So collective bargaining will help will give um, a direct solutions to the employers. So the employers always think about their investments, their growth, their market strength, and their new direction in the market. How they want to reduce the, how they want to make that strengthen or strengthen the economy at the same time their organizational levels also. So this will create a standardized practices across the industry. To take any kind of example, car industry, maybe like a pharmaceutical industry or else a manufacturing or cement industry. So there will be some union and union people or the members of the owners will discuss about how to create or make good profits from the business. So if they are going to making good profits means they are currently working in this operation. If they are disturbing themselves, so definitely they will get a losses in this business also. So there may be plus points and negative points are there. In a positive angle, if they are working with one-to-one coordination, cooperation, and help one-to-one, so definitely that will be help to the some other parties also. If they are working, in a particular organization, particular industry, they're following different styles of work. So definitely they may lose some cooperation or coordination, or else help they may miss from these parties. And the policy development and labor law guidance. How the policy development and labor law guidance is going to be there in this organization. So these organizations often guidance and interpreting and implementing labor laws and policies helping business remain compliant with the national regulations. So if anything, any new policy came from the government level or any labor uh, no, guidance is required from the government side, all together are going to discussing with the government because if they want to make it easier to their organizations. Sometimes the government is going to uh, you know independently or voluntarily they used to make some labor laws or some guidance and a policy makes development policies. So sometimes that may be stressing on the organization level, because if there is no proper you know idea about the things, or else that is a completely hard things to implement in the organization level, definitely the organizations will raise and will discuss this about this organizational level. This also work closely with the policy makers to influence the development of laws that affect business, including labor laws, taxation, and employment standards. So definitely, so that will impact because if you are going to bringing some new labor laws or that taxation structure or the new tax regime in this artist level, that may affect about the sales, their profits also, and also employment standards. If they are going to pro- government is not going to supporting towards employment thing, so definitely they may face the problems because that may affect on the mm, this thing, because policy makers always with the take they always take examples or suggestions from the organizational um, organizations with a kind support and kind discussions, because if they are going to taking into their consideration, so that our nations or industry may be collapsed, so that may affect on the Indian economy also. and conflict resolution and dispute management. How that conflict resolution and disputes are going to be there in this organizational level. So employees organization support business uh, business in a managing industrial. So these organizations will look about the how they need how to solve the conflicts or disputes in this organizational level. So these things, this organizational level will discuss about how to solve it from the parties. And if there is no proper support from these things, definitely there may be a problems will be going. So employers are organizations support to business in the managing industrial disputes by providing guide advice, resources, and sometimes legal support also. So once again, and they may mediate between management and employees, aiming to resolve conflicts while minimizing disruption. So the disruption, how that was arised and how to solve it, how to make it in a good manner. So the management always about always thinks about how to resolve the problems immediately with a fair and nicely. So that's the reason they try to resolving the disputes in this artist level at the same time, one-to-one level. And another part is that training and capacity building. So why the training is required to the employers? Because new technology, new labor laws, new policy maker, new practices, new leadership styles are workplaces. If anything is there, they need to enhance the skills. So enhancement nothing but learning and awareness. They're getting awareness about the particular skill or the technology. So enhance the skills and the capability abilities of their members. Because if the organizations work, they used to work some few members of the members, maybe 10 members, 5 members, and the major key role persons, they used to organize the entire business. So for that, they are going to making them self, clearly about how to gain the skills, how to resolving it in a fair manner. So the employers organizations provide training programs on labor law compliance. Why labor law is a complicated thing. So if we are working with labor, we have to know each and everything about the organizational labor laws, because labor laws completely uh, disturb the organizational culture. So labor law, if there is no awareness about the labor laws and how to solve the problems, will it was erased by the in the artist level. So labor law companies, they used to provide training to the their members or the employees in this organization, and about the work safety also, workplace safety. Like you can see daily manufacturing products like drugs, medical drugs, or else coal mining things, and they used to provide a number of safety measures and safety aspects and leaderships also. So how that leaders in the finance, HR, marketing, and operational and some other angle, they used to train them effectively to get an output with the employees. And also best HR practices when they are going to recruiting, when they're going to selecting, when they're going to acquiring, when they're going to um, taking into organization. From that, they have to make them um, train them effectively and efficiently to get an output from the employees. If there is no proper HR practices, the system completely collapses, because HR practices definitely that may impact on the organizational performance, that may affect on the organizational performance very smoothly and effectively. And these programs help employers foster a productive and positive work environment. Yes, definitely. This labor law compliance, workplace safety, leadership, and best HR practice all are give a productive output and a positive work environment in the organizations. So definitely we have to get a clear cut idea and strong command about the labor law compliance and workplace safety and leadership. So we have to train them in terms of all these things. And another part of this organization level is that research and data collection. So, as a employer, that means as a manager of the organization or the management of the organization, we are going to starting a business. We should know about the marketing conditions. We have to do the research whether there is a potential growth or not, whether there is a market or not, whether there is a any kind of distributions are there. So we have to know, we have to conduct a research on employment trends, wage rates, labor market conditions, and other relevant issues. So we have to focus on all these things in this organizational level. Otherwise, we can't get a proper understanding about these things. So when you going to research year by year, time to time, and research, we have to again and again we have to search about what are the latest things, what are the trends, what are the contemporary things are going to be there in this organization level. So we must know about the wage rates, labor market conditions, and other relevant issues in this organizational levels. They use this information to provide data backed insights to both business and policy makers. So those who are the policy makers in these organizations, definitely they must know about this information by conducting the research. When they have a data in their table, they used to discuss about that, how to solve it, how to overcome it, how to get maximize, how to solve the problems, and in a different angle on the all dimensions, they are going to taking a decision at various levels in the organizations. So organizations will effectively taking this research and data collection process and the no, data sources. Now see the examples of employers organizations in India. So we have some organizations employers like a unions. We have to see the labor unions like AI, TUC, BEFI about the banking sectors. So BEFI will deals about the banking employees, and NFIR, raising about the problems of the railway employees, and textiles, steel, and transportation. This AITUC is discussing about these problems. The same time, same way, the employees also have a organizations. They are the Confederation of Indian Industry, that is known as shortly known as CII. CII, one of the leading employees organizations in India. So it works to create a favorable environment for industrial growth and development by advocating for policies that support business interests. So in this organization level, the CI will discuss about the confederation about the Indian industry, how that industry has to move forward when compared to the global level, when global international level. So the confederation of Indian industry, they are going to thinking about how to give a good results from the industry. And the CI conducts the research and organizes training programs and collaborates with the government on economic reforms and development projects. So even CI also taking a initiation or the steps about the how to do a research about the market, why that market was failing, and how that market was. We have to take an initiative to solve the problem. So they are going to conduct a research to know about the true or facts about the organizational real time example, real time um, no, truth. So this organizes the training programs also. They used to conduct the training programs for the small and medium enterprises and medium enterprises and also large size companies and different fields, different organizations and various organizations in this um, industry, and it collaborates with the government. At the same time, some companies also will collaborate with governments, like they're going using that CSR funds also, the corporate social fund, CSR, corporate social responsibility. In part of that, they are also collaborating with the industry to promote or to make an economic reforms and development the projects. So definitely, like in I can see an example of metro in Hyderabad also. They are also collaborating with the government to promote the metro services in Hyderabad. At the same time, we can also see that the airport of Rajiv National Airport Shamshabad, they also come forward to the PPP model, private and public partnership model, to promote the aviation sector or the industry. So like GMR or GBK or some other companies will come together to come up with their new ideas, new challenges, new sessions towards the next level, because they are going to uh, conducting and doing research, and they are also collaborating with the government organizations to make a growth in the industrial level. Another part is that FICCI, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. FICCI is also one of the major um, uh, uh, no, uh, major chamber of commerce in the industry. So FICCI is another major employers organizations. They're representing business across sectors. So FICCI will discuss and deliberate about the different fields about the um, organizations, business organizations. So it actively engages in policy advocacy, aiming to improve the regulatory environment for Indian industries. So one of the major things is the regulatory environment. How to that organization, how to that government has to implement the regulatory environment in the Indian industry. So they are also giving policy advocacy. If the government is not going to providing a proper policy makings, this Indian FICCI will help them to making a policy advocacy in this artist level. They aim to improve the regulatory environment in the Indian industries. So these organizations, the FICCI, will help about the particular policy, not only policy making advocate, they're also involved in the government official works in partially also. And FICCI works with the government to address challenges of labor law, taxation, and international trade, representing employees' interest in both the domestic and the global platform. So we can see what an important aspect here, the labor law. They're also addressing about the challenges. What are the challenges are there in the labor law? So if the labor law is not completely useful to the society or that organization, then what is that? What is the making of this labor law? So they are going to addressing the challenges in the labor law and taxation. Well, no, government will play um, tax regimes to see about the tax regimes in this next level. If the government is not imposing any issues, any problems, any burdens on the common man or else in the organizations level. So they used to look about the taxation and tax related problems and international trade. How that international trade, that means, when you're going to importing or exporting the goods from one place to another place, they used to look about, they used to give suggestions, they used to make some government policy makings, and that they're also framing some regulatory works because interested, always we are going to exporting the goods. If you are not going to exporting, then we can't exchange the currency also. So for if you are going to exchanging the goods, definitely we can have a good faith and good economic conditions are going to be there in India. So that's the reason this FICCI is representing about the international trade and taxation labor law and the interest in both the domestic and the global partner. Not only India, but also in the global platforms. So they are giving suggestions and support, giving supports, and they are also involving the regulatory and policy making activities. So the government will think about this. Vicky thinks about this organizational level. And another one is that EFI. So EFI, the Employers Federation of India. So EFI especially focus on labor issues and industrial relations. How the labor issues are going to be there, and how that industrial relations with the one-to-one industry. One-to-one industry, how that industrial relations are going to be there, whether it is good relations are there, whether there's a bad relations are there, and how that organizations are going to be organizations are going to be having good relation, and how they are going to solving the labor issues are solving the issues. So here the EFI supports the employers in complying with labor laws, advice on human resource practices. That human resource practice means, they're going to working on how the employees are working in this organization level, how they are practicing, in a practical way, how they are that is implemented in the organization level, and they present their interests of employers in the labor policy discussions. So this EFI is discussing with one organization with another organizations about the labor policy discussions, because if you don't understand the policy discussions in appropriate way, so we cannot implement in a systematic way. By that way, that there is a lot of problems are going to be there in these organizations. At the same time, EFI plays an active role in collective bargaining and industrial relations, helping to prevent and resolve workplace conflicts. So EFF plays an active role. So in terms of collective bargaining means smoothly they are going to gathering to resolve the problems. What are the problems? What are the issues? What are the relations? What are the conflicts or disputes are going to be there in the organizational level. So these employees Federation of India is always the things and working about works about the human resource practices, and also how to make a good relations in this organization level, how to help them to prevent what are the problems are there in this level, and also they try to resolve the workplace conflicts also, if any kind of conflicts, issues, problems, and bad culture, this EFI will address the issue, and they used to uh, give a solution. So try to give a solutions to their employees, the employers in this as a unity or the particular party. Now, last part of this concept is concept of the industrial organizations. That is employees organization. That is the role and impact of employees organization on what? Let's see. Employees organizations play an essential role in shaping the labor market, promoting fair labor practices, and influencing policy. So majorly when you are going to looking about these, we cover all these points about that workers, employers protection, employers safeguards, but they was involving about the policy matters, and regulating aspects, and human resource practices, human resource, how that human resource practices are going to be there involving, and in all aspects, they're protecting themselves, and they're going to resolving with the government. They're also facing the problems. If there is anything, they're also discussing with the government about bringing the policy changes or policy negotiations with the government. But when you go to this, see the labor market, the promoting fair labor practices anywhere in India, they try to promote the fair labor practices. If there is no fair labor practices, there will be a conflicts, there will be a problems are going to be there in the organizational level. So how the labor market is going to be there in India? What are the things has to be taken care about the market according to the market conditions and influencing policy. As a employers organization, they used to influence the government because the government is going to bring in with new policies. So sometimes they give a advocacy report about these policies making. So definitely they used to influence the persons as a organization. The individual is not possible to influence the government or the policy makers, but it's possible by the organization level. That is, as a group of people or industries, they can influence the, because these organizations are important in this market because they're generating the income, they're providing employment, and also they're creating a jobs to the newcomers or the employees. So majority people are working in the private organizations, not in the government organizations. That's the reason these private organizations suggestions or else issues, and they used to be maintained in a fair manner, and they used to react with positively. And by representing the interest of business, these organizations contribute to economic stability and industrial harmony. So, harmony in industrial organizations, they want to make happily and pleasantly and peacefully. They have to run their operations with a cooperative manner, coordinated manner, and completely positive, fair manner. So, these employees organizations represent the interest of businesses, how that the business people are taking interest about one to one, and these organizations contribute to economic stability. So if there is no proper stability in this economy, definitely all industries will collapse and they may lose their investments also, and industrial harmony, bridging the gap between employers and employees and the government bodies. Here, three points are there. But about the employers, they are going to providing the employments to the people. Employees always, they used to looking for the jobs or the assistance from the employers. But in between, in the government bodies are bringing some policies, regulations, and making and supporting the any issues are there. They're supporting to these organizations. Their advocacy for balanced labor policies ensures that the business can operate sustainably while maintaining good relations with the workforce, with in turn contributes to a stable and productive economy. So if you want to make a stable and a productive economy, that balanced labor policies should be important. Otherwise, they cannot balance the organizations. So the advocacy for balanced labor policies should ensure and that balance the organization's culture, organizational systems, and with a good relations is going to be there. When we, if there, then it will be happen. That is balanced labor policies. So that will ensure that business can operate sustainably without interruption, without any problem, without any deviation or difference. They can start, they can run the business in a systematic way, in a sustainable way, while maintaining good relations with the workforce, even workforce also, workforce and labors. They can also maintain the proper relations with the employees, which in turn contributes to a stable and productivity. Uh, so why it turns, it turns if there is a stability in the market, they used to get regular income, regular revenues. Then that may be then that case they used to pay the revenues or taxes to the government. So after that, the government will get strengthened, and in terms of economy, that economy will get a strengthened and will get a stronger position in the market. So the reason the role and impact of employees organizations. So employers organizations are going to representing the business interests, and they contribute to economic stability and industrial harmony. They're going to bridging the gap between employers, employees, and government bodies. So these are three members, or the three parties are very important in this organization level when they are going to whether they're going to impacting or not, when they're going to playing any role or not. So their advocacy for balanced labor policies ensures that the business can operate sustainably. They want to sustain in this organizational level. They must maintain a good relations with the organizations. At the same time, organization should maintain the relations with the government. Then only we can run the organization very smoothly. If there is any interruption, if there is any deviation, if there is any differences, problems are going to be there. So they cannot sustain, they cannot survive. So and other things also uh, uh, don't get any problem to towards, because they are not going to getting any troubles when they're going to be one coordination line. So for that, in that all aspects, they are going to giving a productivity productivity productive economy to the country. Though countries will look about the how the industry is promoting, how the industry is paying taxes to the government, how much, and what is the growth rate over the past 5 years or 10 years they used to calculate. Depends upon that, the governments also will make the policies, and that will be helpful to the organizations or they'll say employees in a large size. So thank you. And I'm stopping here. So as for now, as far as we have completed this thing, this industrial the employees organizations and another parties, um, uh, industrial disputes, and the last another part is that um, the functioning of trade unions. So these are we have discussed so far. So in this blog two that we have discussed about the union management relations, what are the management, what are the functions are there that trade unions, and how they are going to surviving and making profit by using this organizations and industrial disputes and employees organizations. So all are the part of this management of industrial relations. So now I'm stopping today. So then coming next week, we can come with a new topic or the concepts. Thank you.